Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Visor, and today I will be bringing to you the Emotional Intelligence Workshop. We'll be going over three parts today, discussing what is emotional intelligence, the cost of poor emotional intelligence, and boosting emotional intelligence. Look forward to sharing this information with you, and let's get started. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence involves being aware of your or other people's emotions, distinguishing between them, labeling them appropriately, and using this information to guide your behavior and thinking. Therefore, making emotional intelligence a great skill for any employee or leader to focus on developing so they can strengthen relationships, strengthening trust as well in those relationships to help bring everyone together um, so they can increase collaboration and performance outputs. And now we will dive a little deeper into emotional intelligence. We'll be looking at the four domains of emotional intelligence. So the first one focuses on self-awareness. This is when an individual has a deep understanding of their emotions, strengths, weakness, needs, and drive. The next portion will focus on self-management. And this is when an individual is becoming more aware of their emotions and how to express them, which can be beneficial for them when they need to manage their response and to have better responses. Next will be social awareness. This is the ability to accurately pick up on the emotions and other people and understand what they are experiencing in that moment. And then finally, relationship management. This is when individuals are using their awareness to have successful interactions with others within the workplace. Now, why does emotional intelligence matter for leaders? Just as employees, leaders need to practice emotional intelligence as it will support them in understanding themselves and others better. Goldman stated that a leader's emotional intelligence can create a specific work culture and environment. Also, a leader's mood is contagious and can quickly spread throughout their organization. Also, the thing about emotional intelligence is that it can impact the organization's management and leadership practices, which affects the relationships between leaders and employees. So, therefore, the leader, their feelings, their behaviors, their actions can have a big impact on the direction that the organization is going or desired to go into. In this point of the presentation, we're going to start to focus on how emotional intelligence and positive leadership connects. Um, I really feel like these two topics kind of intertwine, or actually these two skills intertwine, because when we think about emotional intelligence, we're thinking about how an individual is learning about themselves and how to manage themselves to be able to work with others and be aware of others' feelings to manage relationships, to develop trusting relationships actually. And then with the positive leadership, we're talking about positive emotions, positive relationships, positive communication. And when you bring those two things together, we're being aware of how my actions can positively influence others. So if I could use positive emotions to help me manage and be aware of how I'm feeling in certain moments or things I'm going into, like, yeah, this project didn't go well. However, the team was able to reach other milestones. Let me bring this up as I prepare to talk with them about moving forward. So I'm using positive emotions to guide the direction I want this conversation to go into, and then also with the positive relationships and then positive communications. As I'm being socially aware, I can have these positive communications with individuals, and that's going to help me to maintain um, those positive relationship management with others. Now we're looking at, why does emotional intelligence matter for teams? So teams can improve their overall performance by developing greater emotional intelligence. By teams establishing emotional intelligence norms that can encourage behavior that supports trust, group identity, and group efficacy. Uh, this will also help to establish like what's acceptable and not acceptable, or how we handle certain um, challenges that we may face as a team. So when teams have trust and value one another, it makes it easier for them to work together and complete tasks, or even just desiring to want to work together to ensure that the department or the organization reaches its goals. Well, why does emotional intelligence matter in good times and in crisis? Well, when times are good, emotional intelligence will assist leaders and employees to continue to positively manage their relationships in their workplace. Organizational norms can be explored during the good times to help employees work with emotions productively and intelligently, to ensure that, all right, well, when things were good, we did this and it worked. So let's continue to ensure that we had this in place. During the times of crisis, emotional intelligence matter, as it will support leaders and employees to manage their emotions and have more empathy towards one another as they face this challenge. And just to not let their emotions get the best of them or run wild to where people are doing and saying things to team members to where it could disrupt um, the foundation that that team has already established. So now we're trying to see, what is the cost of poor emotional intelligence. So this is part two of this presentation that we're working on for the workshop. So with poor emotional intelligence among leaders, therefore generates low work morale, poor work attitudes, high employee turnover, and lessens organizational productivity. Also, low levels of emotional intelligence creates climate rifts with fear and anxiety. Employees with low self-awareness interprets a need to improve as a threat or a sign of failure. And then also, as far as the cost of poor emotional intelligence is, someone having uneven emotional intelligence skills can lead to gaps within their emotional intelligence, to where they could be really strong on identifying their weakness, but they might be weak at um, seeing the weakness of someone else, or seeing where someone else needs assistance. So the cost, when this happens, the cost can ultimately hurt the organization within and outward. And this can also lead to even external people or partners or community members or customers being impacted due to what is happening within the organization as well. And now I will share a poor emotional intelligence scenario with you. So I had an employee who was upset with her colleague for not providing the support that she felt she should have on a project that they were working together on. Um, this must have been a few days of just building up of why this person isn't helping the way they should. This individual then leaves their workspace to go to this person's workspace and share some very unprofessional words with this person. Um, and it made that person kind of blown back because they didn't realize that they wasn't providing the support as this person might have felt like they needed. Um, the reason why I felt like this was a poor emotional intelligence situation was because of the employee that decided to confront the other employee. Uh, they was a they was aware that they were upset, but they were so upset that their emotions had taken over the situation to where they found themselves in this individual's doorway, um, sharing some not so nice words with them. Um, and then, far as with the self management portion, uh, and her emotions taking over, like I said, she ended up displaying unprofessional behavior that was outside of what the norms are. Um, and it then left her colleague feeling very uncomfortable, not sure where this all came from, because they never had a conversation about the colleague lacking in support. There was never no communication about it. So, of course, that impacted the relationship with the individual that had the emotional outbursts. Within his colleagues' workspace, it impacted their trust that they had previously developed, to where it really wasn't much trust anymore after that, even after having a meeting and discussing about how could we move forward. Um, it just never was the same because, like I said, those social norms that was established within the organization of, you don't use um, bad language to express yourself to your colleague. It just created a situation that was hard for them to move forward. Therefore, we had a one-on-one meeting to discuss her actions and why she took that route. So I'm going to kind of act out the conversation that I had with this individual. So here we go. Hey, come on in, have a seat in my office. Let's talk about what happened. Um, I just want to explain that we're here because you chose to follow a behavior that was outside of the norm of this office by um, going to your colleagues' space to share your concerns, and you chose to use some unprofessional words that made this individual uncomfortable. So, if you could provide me your side of the story and what led up to this, that would be great. The employee shared that they knew that this was wrong. I believe at this moment their self management kind of caught up with them because they was like, that was unacceptable, that was very unprofessional, and then they went into to share their story. I then I then began to talk about like alternatives. So like, hey, you could have um, asked to have a meeting with me. You could schedule it, set up via email. We could have had a team meeting with just the three of us to talk about the project and the status. And I could have asked if there was any concerns, any needs, and that could have been an opportunity to share, or you could have just started the email and sent something just saying that this is where we are. However, I have some concerns. Lastly, I want to offer you some resources and suggestions on how you can move forward. Of course, we always have different professional developments out there that you could attend virtually or in person that talks about, working with colleagues and just within the workforce. Also, I would like for us to meet maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month just to see where you are, so I can ensure that I'm providing you the support you need to express yourself or just to share concerns that you might have. So that's kind of how that scenario went. And after that conversation, things went really well. We hadn't had any issues ever since. I think they are now having a better relationship now. Some trust is being reestablished, which is good. Okay, this is part three, strategies to boosting emotional intelligence. The first strategy that I selected was know what pushes your buttons. I think in being able to understand what triggers your emotions is great because it will help you to be able to have more control in situations. This could be practiced easily throughout the day at home or in the workplace, just taking time to reflect on self. Next, it will be to count to 10. I feel like this really will help with the emotional self control because when you take time to pause, you disrupt the current emotions that you're having, and you could try to get things back in order just by taking that time to slow down to regain control. Um, this is a great skill, a strategy that individuals could practice. Even if you want to start with emails, read an email to get you upset, count to 10, then begin to respond. I think that could help as well. Next, go watch people. Observing others, you'll be able to see and witness emotional signals and interactions. This will help you to really develop that social awareness. Next would be to be open and be curious. When you open and share things about yourself, others could learn about you, but also be curious enough to ask questions about others so you can learn about them. So this could be done within the workplace easily, just when you're speaking in the morning with other people. Hey, how your day going? Oh, that's cool. We should talk about that more later today or later this week. Just being very engaging. And finally, it would be to build trust. Focus on building trust over time could strengthen relationships and increase collaborations. And definitely cultivating relationships and building trust takes time, but if you put in the effort, you can see an increase in building your relationships with others. And this could be done easily by just taking the time just to talk more with your coworkers. And this will bring you to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.